never made it, but I know what it takes. I'm motivated by a mix of emotion. Got my statement, and I'm reading it slow so I can understand it fully. Appreciate my standing, go out of this world and right on time. Oh, never in my life have I seen the sky light up like this. I'm far away from Earth and I wanna know if you exist. Mission control, do you read me? Send me my coordinates lately. Mission control, am I drifting? Tie me to someone who will love me, yeah. Wait, I think I'll last a bit longer, fine.
Welcome everyone, welcome everyone, welcome everyone to another Ref Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube video. Wherever you are, whatever you may be doing, thank you so much for making Ref Brandon and the Todd Family a part of your day. We always greatly appreciate it. Since it is a Saturday, I figured today we would go ahead and preview all of the games coming up 1 week from today. Next Saturday, August 27th, which will be week 0 in the world of college football. The good news is, since it's a light schedule, you won't have to worry about having 5 or 6 games on at one time that you want to watch, because they've pretty much spread it out. So at noon, you've got 2 or 3 games. At 3:30 and 4 o'clock, you've got 2 or 3 games. And then in prime time, you've got 2 or 3 games. So you can still flip back and forth a little bit if you do so choose, but you won't have to flip back and forth near as much. But I think we need to find another name for it besides week 0. That's another pet peeve of mine, another weird quirk of mine, if you want to call it that we call it week 0. And 0 is supposed to mean nothing, but yet there's games. So games means there's something. We can't call it week 1 with not that many games because that takes too long. So we call it week 0, which drives me crazy. How can you have a week in football with games played and you call it week 0 like the games don't count when the games do count? So we need to find another name for it. But without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about the games coming up 1 week from today. And then after I tell you all the games coming up next Saturday, I've got a quick question for you to go ahead and give you a heads up. First, next Saturday, we've got Nevada and New Mexico State. And then we have Austin Peay at Western Kentucky. And I think Austin Peay should have a permanent cheer that says, "Let's go Peay, let's go Peay." That's a great cheer. And then we have what will probably be the game of the day because of the fact there's not many games at all. And then a lot of the ones that they are having either feature one team or 2 teams that nobody cares about. This is probably the only game on the docket for next Saturday that everybody knows who both teams are. And the game is also going to be played in Dublin, Ireland. That is Nebraska versus Northwestern. You can see Nebraska's first time with new quarterback Casey Thompson, the Texas transfer. And then we have Idaho State and UNLV. And then we have UConn. It'll be the UConn head coaching debut for Jim Mora Jr. as they face Utah State. And then we have Wyoming at Illinois, Duquesne at Florida State, Charlotte at Florida Atlantic, Florida A&M against North Carolina, North Texas against UTEP, and then the nightcap, the late game is Vanderbilt at Hawaii. And that should be a pretty good game. I know more than likely nobody cares about it because it's 2 teams that suck. And yes, both teams do suck, but they're pretty much on equal ground. So it's pretty much equal footing game. So even though it does involve two teams that suck, it should be a competitive game. And I know that outside of Nebraska, Northwestern, that this schedule is pretty much a bunch of games that nobody cares about because it's not high profile teams. There are no top 10 teams on this list, but it whets our appetite as we head into week one because remember, week one, the games start on Thursday and go all the way through Monday. So we'll have 5 nights and days of college football in week one. So this coming up next Saturday just whets our appetite. But my question is, what about streaming? And I ask that because just like I gave everybody a heads up that all the big time power conferences were going to break away from the NCAA, and now we see that's slowly happening. Streaming is fixing to become a thing, and probably within 5 or 6 years, you're not going to have any other choice but to stream most games, not all games, but most games. If you follow sports, you know it's already happened a little bit. Last year in the world of college football, the SEC had an agreement where every single team in the SEC had to play one game on the SEC Network Plus, which nobody has, so you had to pay extra for that one game, whatever game it was that your team was on that channel, which for most teams, if not all, it was, your powder puff game, but still, you had to pay extra if you wanted to watch your team play. And then Notre Dame last year had 2 or 3 games that they streamed exclusively on Peacock. And this year in the world of Major League Baseball, every team is having to play 2 or 3 games at 11:30 Eastern on a Sunday morning that is having to be streamed, so you have to pay extra to watch that game. The NFL Sunday Ticket this year is going to be exclusively streaming only, so you can no longer purchase that on your regular TV package. You have to stream that. And what's going to eventually happen is the majority of the games are going to be streamed, so you're probably going to have to pay $1 or $2 to watch your team play, which is not bad. If you only pay $2 every Saturday to watch your team play, that's not a bad idea. But let's say, you're a Florida Gator fan and Florida plays at noon. Well, you pay $2, you watch Florida. Well, then you want to watch more college football, so at 3:30, you've got to pay $2 more to go watch Bama play. And then Saturday night comes around, you've got to pay $2 more to watch somebody else play. Well, still $6 in one day is not bad. And if you do that 4 times a month, that's only $24. That's not bad. But what if you like TV shows during the week and you have to stream them as well? Because if you're going to stream 15 TV shows a week and 5 or 6 football games a week, you're better off having a cable or satellite package. It'll be cheaper than all the money you're forking out for Netflix and Hulu and all that stuff and streaming these games. But that's what's eventually going to happen because they're going to find out that if people like a team enough, they will pay extra to watch their team play. So it won't be like a pay-per-view where you're going to have to pay $45 to watch your team play, but you will have to pay some kind of small fee. But if you only watch your team and that's it, that's fine. But most people that are football fans don't want to just watch their team. Now, they'll watch their team when their team is on, but if and when their team is not on, they'll watch somebody else. So if you're streaming 4 or 5 games every Saturday, you're going to be spending about $10 a Saturday just watching football. That's not counting what you're going to spend on Sunday, not counting what you watch during the week. So I hope you like streaming because we're slowly heading in that direction because it's just another way for all these big TV companies and TV channels and schools and programs and franchises, every how you want to look at it, every what words you want to use, it's another way for them to make money because if you really love your team, you're going to pay to watch them, especially in football when you only get to watch them at 12 times a year. So you want to take advantage of those 12 times. So if you've got to pay $5 more, I know when you sit back and think about it, your first instinct is, I'm not going to do that. But the reality of it is, more than likely, 95% of people will do that because you want to watch your team play. And paying that $5 is still better than going to the game and spending $300 for a ticket and parking, eating, and all that. So yes, it sucks, but we might as well get ready for it because we're slowly heading in that direction. Any thoughts on next week's schedule? Please feel free to let me know. Let's go ahead and get our dad joke of the day in here. What do you call a zombie who doesn't joke around? Dead serious. And that wraps it up for today's Ref Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube video. Until next time, it's Ref Brandon saying, just like in pro wrestling, life can be over by the count of 3. Tell your friends and family how much you love them. Bye.